Merry Yuletide, fairy godmotherlovers. I am here to kick off Yule officially with you tonight, which is the first night of the 12 days of Yuletide, or what most of you may know as the 12 days of Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas is a Christian adaptation where the 12 days each got assigned a particular virtue to embody, to sort of focus the energies of each day. But originally, Yuletide is a Norse tradition, and I'm bringing in the Norse roots for this particular round. And if you're not familiar with Fairy Godmuthaluvas Incorporated, I did put out a video earlier in the year. I'll pin it in the comments so you can become familiarized, where I go over what it means to be a fairy godmotherlova. But basically it's about getting out into the community, adopting a character, a fairy character that you create, and being in character in the community, role playing, and being a maker of magic and hope and wonder, and just bringing the spirit of the season forward through doing anonymous gifting and random acts of kindness that inspire a sense of awe and really invoke the spirit of this season and give people a little belief that maybe there is still some wonder out there in the world, even amid all the challenges that they're facing. I originally came up with this idea to create a tradition for myself about 13 years ago. I was going through a really difficult time and I was feeling supremely challenged. The holidays have traditionally never been an easy time for me. I always tend to get the blues. I've lost some loved ones during this time of year, and that weighs really heavily on my heart at this season. I lost somebody this year, so that's kind of at the forefront of my consciousness. There's also just a lot of heavy experiences that I have gone through at this time of year. And of course, many people feel challenged just by the family dynamics and the pressure to socialize and to be in a cheerful mood, maybe when they're going through some heavy stuff. Not to mention the fact that seasonal affective disorder is a thing. A lot of people feel depression at this time of year because they just aren't getting enough sunshine in, and it is the darkest point in the year. We're heading to that darkest time tomorrow evening. In fact, we're going to hit winter solstice, which is the official launch of fairy godmother lovering season. And it's when we really start going out into the world and making some magic. So think of this first night as a preparatory night to sort of set your sights and get your focus and get into this place where you're going to really receive through the giving. And that's sort of the magic of this tradition that I created. I found in my life, whenever I've been going through a really difficult time or I've been facing challenges, that what always helps me feel a sense of purpose and meaning in life is to go out and maybe make somebody else's road a little bit smoother. I almost feel like if I can help inspire hope in somebody else, then maybe there's some hope for me when I'm going through challenging times. So in a way, it's a win-win because it feels good, to give and to help inspire that cheer and that sense of possibility. And I think of all the times in my life when I've been going through something difficult and then some synchronicity came onto my path, like some helpful word from a stranger or some little, bauble that I found on the street, a feather, anything. It can be the simplest thing that just gives me so much hope, or feeling like my prayer was heard, or in some way I am loved, I am cared for, I am being guided. And I feel like we can't underestimate the value of this kind of support coming through in the world right now, especially during a time when there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people are feeling anxiety about where we go from here, what's happening. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to provide for my family? I mean, I think that this year we really saw the effects of the economic downturn, especially in association with what's going on with the whole holiday season. I mean, Black Friday didn't pop off at all. It was like dead zone, you know? I've been out in the community. I've been talking to different small business owners, and they've been saying that they've had to cut back on staff, that they're not hiring Christmas support this year, which is somebody who worked in retail for, gosh, I worked in retail for like 13 years. I did retail management. I was always working during the holidays. I know what a difficult time it can be for people in service positions at this time of year. And to hear that they didn't need to hire on any help and in fact had to cut back on staff hours, that's like a real big sign that, you know, there's a lot of instability right now. And I know I've been hearing a lot of people talking about these concerns. And I do want to bring up something very briefly, not as a way to like shame anybody, but just as kind of a call for more conscientiousness, especially out of the tarot community, because a lot of people come to these reads as a way to get some kind of guidance, some kind of support, or just to feel like, you know, somebody understands their situation. And I've been seeing so many readers kind of talk about if you're dealing with financial challenges or setbacks, it's because, you know, you're going through some kind of karmic repercussions and you're a karmic and this is like your bad lot for, you know, blowing it back there or whatever. Please, can we not put that kind of stigma out there? Like, it's so, first of all, it's bullshit. And second of all, it's so out of touch with what is going on in the collective right now, not just here in the United States, but globally. Like, get a grip. If you're really that tapped in, you wouldn't be saying shit like that. Second of all, just the whole concept of karma, I'm so frustrated with the fact that people don't understand that karma is a concept that was birthed out of the Vedas. And if you really want to understand karma, you need to understand it's not this tit for tat thing. It's not a punishment. Karma is your life lessons. If you are in a physical body, the physical body itself is karmic. Okay, so if you're here, you're karmic. But there's so much of this kind of programming and algorithm that wants to create these dividing lines and wants to categorize people. And, you know, there always has to be like the chosen ones and the karmics. And it's like, can we just stop? Can we just stop? It's not productive. It's not progressive. It's not helpful. And it's certainly not tapped in. All right. And for all of those who are in a position where you're humming along and you're in a good place economically and your table is full, then, you know, pass it on, man. Share that abundance. Pass it on. Because it can easily be your turn on the bottom of the wheel next. We all take our turn getting rolled over by that wheel of karma. All right. Time marches on and we are all subject to the ravages of time. And this is the age of the Kali Yuga. So everybody, you know, is facing the same uncertainty. It doesn't matter what position you're in right now, but to kind of like label a whole huge sector of the population as being punished because they're dealing with financial challenges is pretty absurd. And it's pretty out of touch. And it makes me feel bad for people that are out there really struggling, which is the working class, okay? The working class is going through some hard times. They're worried about, how am I going to put food on the table for my family? And you're sitting there telling them it's their punishment. Like, let's just be a little bit more aware of the messages we put out there. And it may not be popular opinion for me to say that as a fellow tarot reader. here on YouTube, but I don't care. You know, I have to say what I got to say. When something feels, you know, like it needs to be spoken to, I'm going to speak to it. That's just how I roll. And it's not out of judgment. I don't think anybody's meaning any genuine harm. I just think that they haven't spent the time to be really conscientious about how that's coming across, the messages that they're putting out there, and the reality that the majority of the people in the United States are really struggling right now economically. So, yeah, you know, and not just here in the States, all over in the world. But I can only speak as somebody, you know, coming from my experience and what I'm seeing happening, and from what I'm hearing from people as I go out and make contact with people in the community. You know, people are really having a hard time right now. So let's lift each other up. Let's lift people up. Let's not, you know, kick them when they're down, and not make them feel bad about being in the position they're in, because, you know, they're just having their time to get rolled over by that wheel, and they're suffering from, you know, the reality of what it's like to be in this capitalistic system that's coming to a place of completely dismantling and crumbling. Yeah. Okay. So I felt like I needed to say that. And I think it's important because that's the atmosphere that's out there right now. And that's something that I have to say makes this year feel a little bit different for me personally. I think that there's a lot of stress in the world right now, and there's so much uncertainty, and a lot of people are just feeling like at the end of the rope. And I hear it all the time. People feel overloaded. They're tired. They don't like this feeling of not having the stability, not having the security. And so this is kind of a tall order, you know, this year for Fairy Godmuthaluvas season, because we really have to get inspired and invoke that magic and that sense of hope at a time when a lot of people just feel like we're going to hell in a handbasket. So I know it's a tall order, and I know many of you are tired, and I know many of you are going through challenges too, but just give it a shot, man. Okay? Just give it a whirl. Just let a little bit of that light in. Just play with the energy a little bit, and greet it where you can with what you're able to do, of course. But I think that you'll find that the more you're willing to kind of like jump into this, throw yourself into it, get out of your head about it, get out of your own experience, and connect more with the sense of humanity, and that you're not in this alone. If you are going through a really rough time, there's a lot of other people out there who feel like you feel. And if you can kind of connect with that, it can be a unifying moment. Also, if you can think about times when you've been really down and out, and maybe you got extended some kindness out of nowhere, how that made you feel. And maybe that can inspire you to kind of jump into this. So if you want to jump into it, check out the video that I will put a link to for the first Fairy Godmuthaluvas video that I put out earlier in the year. I'll pin it in the comments. You can check that out. It has some ideas in there of things that you can do. But I'm going to be doing a special video series where every day for the 12 days of Yuletide, I'll be putting out a video that talks about the Norse traditions and some of the things that they did to inspire hope and magic and a spirit of celebration and wonder and gratitude and blessing at this time of year, and how they extended that out to their community. So you can kind of join in the spirit of that, get your own ideas, start your own traditions. I hope you will make it your own, but I really encourage you, like, get into character, dress up for it. Even if you only go out and do it one day, you know, do it to the tilt, you know, don't compromise it at all. Stay in character the whole time, and don't showboat about it. That's a big rule with Fairy Godmother lovering, is it's not about virtue signaling. It's not about your Instagram or Facebook status update and saying, oh, look what a good person am I went and did this service work today. It's not about that, okay? You don't share what you did with anybody. And the more that you can do this without anybody even knowing you were responsible for it, the better. But that's why it's good to have a character, okay? Because then you're not going out there and saying, well, I'm Shannon and I'm doing this. You're holding a piece of the magic and you're extending it out into your community. So again, in that first video that I put out, I give some ideas of some things you can do. More ideas will be coming in each day as I put out a video for you, just to kind of inspire the community. And I hope even if you just, dip your toes into it and you just do it for one day, and just try it on for size, I hope that it weaves a bit of that magic in your life and that it inspires the people whose lives you touch when you go out there and just bring a little cheer and a little of the spirit of the season forward, the true spirit of the season, which at the end of the day isn't about all of this capitalistic BS that it's become about. It's not about, the presents. It's not about who gets the most toys or who has the biggest banquet feast on their table. But it is about that spirit of community. It's about hope. It's about wonder. It's about believing in miracles. And maybe, just maybe, we can pull a rabbit out of the hat. All right. So today is the first day, and today is known as Mother's Night in Norse tradition. And Mother's Night is very much focused on the mother goddess aspect. And since working within the Norse tradition, we are focusing on goddess Freya. But you can certainly apply this to your own spiritual tradition. So Christian tradition, Mother Mary, naturally, Virgin de Guadalupe. If you are part of the Yoruba traditions, Oshun, all right? There's many ways that this can come forward. Native traditions, Pachamama, there's so many directions you could go with this. So just whatever represents that divine mother compassion to you, that nurturing quality, the receptive quality. If you're somebody who doesn't have a particular spiritual belief, it can even just be this concept of mother. And so a wonderful thing to do on this evening on Mother's Night is to make an altar with the goddess, the mother goddess, as a center point, or even just the embodiment of that archetype of mother and what that means to you. Now, naturally, you could put pictures of your mother on your altar and things that symbolize nurturing to you, what it means to receive, all of those qualities. And if you haven't really been able to connect with the nurturing side of the mother archetype because of your own challenges, this can actually be something that's very healing for you, to start to invoke these qualities of what mother truly means. What does the essence of that archetype really mean? What does it mean to be nurtured? What does it mean to receive? And start to sort of invoke this by bringing mindfulness to it, attention to it, and creating an altar to the mother can be a beautiful way to bring in this tradition. If you're going to work within the Norse tradition of Yuletide, you could work with Freya, you could work with Frigga, Nana, okay, so many of the mother goddesses. It's just all about what resonates for you. Me, I was born on Freya's day, on Friday, October the 13th. So for me, I'm down for my home girl, Freya. And I got a beautiful Freya statue that I've been meaning to, get my altar together with. I'm actually going to be changing out this altar. I'll probably be working on it later tonight and throughout tomorrow before winter solstice hits, coming in the evening hours out here. So that should give me some time. But I currently have this cloak, is what's been serving as a makeshift altar cloth, but I did this intentionally because I wanted to imbue a lot of energy in it, because it's part of my fairy Godmuthaluvas costume for my my fae character, which isn't really a character. It's actually who I am in fairy. I am initiated into a fairy tradition, and it's my fairy name, which is Simplicity. So I got to get Simplicity's garb together, and I got this action going on this year. I'm also wearing it over a beautiful white ritual robe that I was given by my dear wise woman partner in crime, Janet Molinari. So I'm getting my whole get up together. So I got to change this over anyway. And I've been meaning to change the altar over forever. But like all of you, I've been dealing with a little bit of the sluggish energy. It's been a little bit sloggy moving through the fall and heading up into the winter here. So I'm ready to get some kind of fresh energy coming in. But yeah, that would be a wonderful thing to do, you know, change out an altar, even just create a winter altar, you know, to welcome in the season, and maybe, you know, put up some symbols to represent the mother quality. Another thing that's done on Mother's Night is that in Norse tradition, we honor the Disir. And what are the Disir? The Disir are feminine spirits, okay? Specifically feminine spirits. And they're sort of enigmatic and a little bit of a mystery. And there's not a whole lot that is really understood or known as far as differentiation is concerned, because the Disir are considered to be guardian spirits. They're considered to be guardians of people, also guardians of groups, guardians of the land. But there's also land spirits that are not considered Disir within the Norse tradition, as well as guardian spirits within Norse tradition that are not considered Disir. Disir has association with the fates, the Norns, the weaving of the threads of destiny. This all comes in when we look at the Disir. And when we're looking at honoring the Disir, it's to gain a certain kind of favor, to secure a hopeful hand of fate, I guess you could say. It's to encourage favor. Now, they're also associated with feminine ancestors. So again, a way that you could work with this energy if you're from a different tradition or you don't want to work with the Norse roots would be to pay particular attention to the women in your ancestral bloodline and maybe make some special offerings on your ancestral altar to them. So just giving you some different ideas of ways that you can work with this energy. Now, the thing about the Disir, though, is that while they can be known to be very loving and nurturing and mother-like in quality, protective, you could say, there's also the flip side of the coin where they can be very fierce, they can be wrathful, they can be on the war path, all right? And so there's also associations not only with the Norns when it comes to the Disir, but also the Valkyries. And the Valkyries are those that come and help fallen soldiers transition into Valhalla, okay? They're also known to be very fierce energies, but they are known as the Disir of Odin. So again, a lot of question marks there. There's a lot that's not known, but they are known to be kind of fickle. So this could be the reason why it's a wise idea to leave them some kind of offering, some kind of honoring gesture. Because the belief is if you give them this honor, then you might just secure some blessed fortune for yourself, and fates can be in your favor, especially in the coming year. Everything during Yuletide is to really just secure the building of that light in your life during the dark times while we're waiting for the new beginnings and the fresh energy that comes in the spring. It's sort of like building up some good credits in your bank account, in your spiritual bank account, okay? And it's also to secure the prosperity of the land, which in turn feeds, nourishes the community and all the people. So it's definitely communal minded, in particular when we're looking at the Disir. And there's still a marketplace festival that goes on today in honor of the Deezer that is all about kind of blessing the tilling of the land and the prosperity that will come from that. And, you know, having the big communal meal to sort of celebrate, break bread with each other, celebrate the harvest that's already come in and the harvest to come in the future, okay? But in ancient times, of course, you know, often animals were offered, but the animals that were offered up, they were given as an offering to the Deezer, and yet they were used to feed the community. They would make a big feast. The community would all eat together. So this kind of gives you some clues. One of the traditional animal offerings to the Deezer in ancient times was the swine, all right? Which when I found that out, it kind of made me laugh because I kind of had a fun little tradition that I created for myself a number of years ago for Krampus, where I would cook up Krampus offerings of bacon, and it was to find favors. So, Krampus is known to dole out some punishment if you've been a spoiled child, right? So it is kind of the same concept, ironically. And when I found this out, it made me laugh. I was like, oh, that's why I always got some good stuff coming in after I gave Krampus some bacon, I don't know, maybe it would be interesting to find out if there's any kind of far-fetched associations there with the Deezer, because the energy is kind of like that. It has sort of like parallels, keeps these kind of unruly energies in line, and at the same time the energy can be a little bit spicy, can be a little bit tricky, which is probably why it's a good idea to appease them. So I'm just saying, it wouldn't hurt if you wanted to make up some bacon and leave a little to the women ancestors on the altar, or maybe put out a little offering for the Deezer if you want to work with the Norse tradition, and just ask them for some favor in the coming year. It's kind of funny, make them a sandwich, make them a BLT. You just might have some you might have some good luck come your way, all right, if you feed them right. So that's pretty much the focus tonight. I also have a sort of quiet working that you can do, and you can build it throughout Yuletide. You could actually use it throughout the winter season as a whole. And I think it's a beautiful practice that always connects to the mother essence. And it's something that I've adapted a little bit beyond the original teaching, which was passed down to me by Francesca de Grandis within the tradition that I'm initiated into, which is the third road of Fairie. But the ritual is called Mother's Milk, and it's very simple. You can get any kind of hot bevy. You can get golden milk. I like to work with golden milk just because of all the spices that are put in golden milk and what each of their, metaphysical properties are. I just think it imbues a certain quality. You could also do a nice chai. You could do a hot cocoa at this time of year, would be really sweet, or eggnog. You could throw a hot toddy in the mix if you wanted to bring a little bit of that, seasonal celebratory flair in. But it's nice for it to be a warm beverage, even just a nice cup of herbal tea, okay? Because it has a certain quality to it. And if you can make it a little creamy, that for me is sort of bringing in a little bit of that spirit of what Louisa Tiche passed down to me, that anything is made better when you just rub a little cream on it, okay? So put a little cream in your hot bevy just to also invoke that quality of the mother's milk, whether you use cow's milk for that or coconut milk, any kind of milk, okay? It can be whatever works for you, all right? Make it your own. But you hold this warm beverage in your hands, and you can view it almost as like a little creative cauldron, okay? And as you hold this beverage in your hands, think of 5 nurturing qualities, 5 things that you feel like are missing nourishment in your life, that you want to nurture, that you wish to receive, that you wish to call in. And you're going to imbue those qualities into the milk by naming them one by one. In the mother's milk is, for example, abundance. And as you focus on the word abundance, then you just take a moment to just get in touch inside of yourself, not in specific terms, okay? You don't have to think of a specific goal. It's more about the quality itself. So grok that quality of abundance. What does abundance feel like in your body? When you think of being abundant, what does abundance feel like? Because once you can get your energy to shift to the quality, then you start resonating with that frequency. You start drawing these experiences to you. That's how it works. And with abundance, it's so important that you do get out of the head and you do get into the body, because it's such a physically oriented thing to experience abundance. Abundance comes from the earth, from the physical, from the material. So the more you can really connect to the physical sensation of what it would feel like to be abundant. Now, maybe it can help you to remember times in the past when you felt abundant, and that can help you connect these feelings in your physical body, root them in your physical body. And then once you're really connected to this feeling, this is how I've done a little bit of adaptation. You can close your eyes and envision right in your third eye a triangle, okay? And feel this light emanating from this triangle, this golden light, all right? And then just put that feeling of abundance into the center of that triangle and envision it flowing out like a current of energy and going directly into that warm beverage, that mother's milk that you are holding, okay? And then go to the next quality and do the same, go through the same process. Now, stick to no more than 5 qualities. Keep it simple, right? Don't make such a tall order. Start small. You can even start with just one, one quality if you wish. But when you've gotten them all together, let's say you go for 5, once you've imbued them in the milk, you can even then I like to work with my finger to keep it very visceral. You can use a spoon if you like and imagine it like a spoon stirring a cauldron. But you will say, in the mother's milk is, and then name off each of the qualities that you imbued, okay? And then you take in the nourishment and you drink the milk. And as you're drinking the milk, you're drinking in each of these qualities that you imbued. If you did this practice on a regular basis, it really does have a potent effect. It's something that doesn't happen with bells and whistles. It's a very quiet kind of working, and it just shifts. It shifts your energy signature. And because it shifts your energy signature, not only does it shift the way you look at the world, so therefore you may see opportunities that you couldn't recognize before because you weren't focused in such a way, right? But it also draws those kind of energies to you. It's a really potent working, and it's also very comforting, and I feel like it very much connects to that mother energy. So I thought it would be a beautiful thing to bring in and work with in association with Mother's Night, all right? So maybe treat yourself to a little hot bevy before you go to bed tonight. Experiment with this, and if you feel so inspired either tonight or tomorrow in preparation for winter solstice, set up your altar and bring in that mother quality, and that's a beautiful way to kick off this tradition. And if you're curious about fairy godmothering, or that's what I used to call it, fairy godmothering, and then I changed it this year, I'm still getting used to it, to fairy Godmuthaluvas, because I wanted it to be more inclusive and for everybody to feel, welcome to participate. So if you'd like to learn more about it, check out the video that I'm going to pin in the comments, and it'll give you some different ideas, things that you can do. to sort of get you started. But like I said, I'm going to be bringing in things every day to help inspire you and also just to get you in the spirit of the season. I know that this always hasn't been the easiest time of year for me either, you know, so it's good for me to bring in these traditions at this time, and I just wanted to sort of pay that forward to all of you and help you feel inspired, since I think we all need a little bit of oomph and motivation this year. Just the energy is really interesting right now. I have to say, especially with the Mercury retrograde in the mix, it's going to be in play until New Year's Day. I mean, we're working through retrograde energy, and the energy has been feeling a little bit kind of boggy for a while. So, you know, we got this. We can get fired up. We can get fired up together, all right, collective? I just want to do a little quick read to kick this off and see if there's anything that Fairy wants to bring forward to those of us who want to actively participate in building the light this year and bringing in the hope and building community. Any guidance that the Fairy wants to bring in for us? Yeah, look at this. We have the Five of Cups here. So see, I think a lot of people are in this space. A lot of people are feeling a real sense of loss right now. Normally they would be feeling very celebratory, but I feel like a lot of people they're finding it hard to get into the spirit this year because of all the challenges we're facing. But I love, there's Fairy with this little pearl that says, look, there's still a gift that can come out of this. And I love this because behind this figure who's looking back at what's lost or what's disappointing or what's causing grief, there's this rebirth energy and luck energy with the bats bringing in 2 cups here, which promises future alignment, and that there's something to be gleaned from the losses as well. There's some type of pearl of wisdom to be gained. And this is the thing with Fairy, that when we have challenges on our paths, it's never without a purpose. It's all to cultivate something within ourselves. It's all to give us some kind of gift that may not be a material gift, but it's a spiritual gift, and it's something that really serves us on our path moving forward. So this is about using those irritations, using those frustrations, those challenges, and making something beautiful come out of it, just like the oyster uses the irritations to make a beautiful pearl. Okay, there's something of value that can come out of the experience. And I think maybe it's also about really redefining what this season is about. We've kind of allowed this season to be marketed to us, and we've lost touch with our roots. And maybe it's about bringing back more of the roots traditions to really remember what this season is about. It's not about who gets the most gifts or who's the most well off, or, you know, making everybody happy. It's really about honoring the flow of the seasons and celebrating the return of the light, the ending of the darkness, okay? Yeah, it's all about the story you choose to tell yourself. Bottom of the deck energy, you know, well, not bottom of the deck, bottom of the barrel maybe. It flew off the table and landed on the floor. We have the 3 of Wands in reverse. I mean, a lot of the collective is just feeling really blocked right now. Like, can't even see anything good coming in because they're dealing with so many challenges. But this is about, you get to write this story and you get to decide how it goes. So it might be really helpful at this time to get involved in something like fairy godmother lovering and make a character and kind of escape a bit into that fantasy and that wonder and weaving a story. And it's amazing what can happen when you bring a little bit of that creative play into the mix, because it looks like maybe we're having too fatalistic of a view. It's like things may be rough, but even within challenges, there's still a way to move forward. It's just a new way, maybe a way you haven't tried before. But that Paulina Tarot card here, this is my If Wishes Were Horses, the Dreamers Would Ride card. So it shows that there's a way to turn this around. It's just a way that you haven't, you know, tried before. It's something new. And I feel like, you know, get into the spirit in a new way and open yourself up to the possibility that there can be movement forward, maybe just not the way you anticipated. See, there's so many people are feeling this right now. Look at this, 10 of Cups in reverse. I'm telling you, I've been hearing it like in line at the grocery store, just listening to people talk. Like so many people are feeling stressed out right now because of this. They're not even in the mood, you know? They're not even in the mood for celebrating. And I have to say that in light of that, it makes it even more challenging, right? Because there's already those pressures, but with it kind of being really, more pressurized this year, and then on top of it, still being expected to show up and be on, it might be time to, really redefine what the holidays mean for you. And maybe it's time this year, in cases where you are feeling really pressured, that you have some communication with your loved ones. See if maybe you can make a different tradition this year so people can be relieved of that. Maybe you can just come together, share a meal, have a good time, take care of the kids, but don't let it be such a focal point of materialism and having to be all about the gifts. It's more about the togetherness and spending time with those you love and being grateful for what you do have, and it's about the kids, let's be real. It's about the kids and letting them continue to believe in the magic of the world and not snuff out those fires of inspiration and playfulness and spiritedness and hope that they have. Okay, so you might want to just kind of flip your perspective around it and open yourself up to a different kind of experience of it this year. Anything else, Fairie, before we close this out? I just wanted to touch base with all of you. Yeah, I really think it's about, looking at getting away from what it's been and connecting more with a path of heart, connecting with the love at this time of year. And that's why I think doing this kind of thing where you're getting out in the community and you're touching base with other people that are going through challenges, and you're playing a character and just bringing a little silliness and playfulness and spiritedness in a very somber kind of atmosphere, it can be just the right thing to shake things up. And then when you see the smile on people's faces, or you just see that they have just this little moment where something clicks and they feel like there's hope again, it makes all the difference in the world. And it feels so good to give that and to share that. And it's even fun to do it anonymously. You know what I'm saying? Where you're leaving things to be found, little prezzies, little sources of synchronistic inspiration, all those different ideas that get outlined in the first video I put out. You have no idea in how it can shift your own energy, your own experience, and what this time of year comes to mean for you once you get through it, okay? But whatever you're going through right now, okay, whatever challenges you're facing with the Strength card here, you got what it takes to get through this, all right? We all do. And if we think about how much we've already been through, how many setbacks we've experienced, how many uncertainties we've faced since 2020, right? And we're still here, okay? Ooh, I like this. Bottom of the deck energy. Look at that. 9 of Pentacles, okay? That looks like growth to me. It looks like everything can come out right, but it's all about us choosing how we choose to direct that energy. What do we want to focus on? What do we want to grow? Let's think about how we can all prosper. Let's think about us all feeling supported. Let's think about lifting each other up, giving everybody this feeling of being supported and having this abundance around them. And it really does start with community, feeling like you got people who support you, who believe in you, who love you, who encourage you. So if you can bring a little bit of that hope out into the world, it can make all the difference, okay? But I also feel like those of you who are experiencing financial challenges, there is another side to this, okay? But just maybe, maybe only if you don't go broke, trying to live up to some ideal that's not even reasonable, Don't go and put a bunch of stuff on credit that's going to put you in further debt and start you out the new year in the hole. Okay, if you kind of restructure things now and kind of scale back, there's no reason why you can't have a beautiful holiday, all right? And see all of those, happy smiles on the kids' faces and still enjoy yourself and enter the new year without feeling like now you're all set back because you went and, spent a bunch of money you didn't have because you felt like you had to impress other people. I mean, it's just not worth it at the end of the day. So I feel like we're really being called to remember what this time of year is supposed to be about and get back to the roots of meaning at this time of year and really valuing what we do have, feeling grateful for that, and sharing what we have in abundance with others, and just kind of like being there for each other, being there for one another, having that spirit of goodwill and sharing that sense of encouragement. It can make all the difference at this time, and it's okay for it to be a different kind of holiday. You might actually come to prefer it, because we see here, security is very much front and center. A lot of people are holding tight to their money at this time. This doesn't mean the holidays have to be ruined, right? It just means it's time to do the holidays in a new way. So I hope you'll invoke a little bit of that spirit. And in terms of manifestation, in order to be able to receive, blessings, you have to be open, you have to be receptive to it. You can't be guarded and you can't be blocked off like this. So working with this energy of the mother, particularly tonight, work with that mother's milk ritual and see how it feels, just to open yourself to that spirit of nurturing and receptivity, and watch how it starts to shift things. I encourage you, maybe even through these 12 days of Yuletide, maybe do that every night. Just see what you can nurture during this time, especially if you've been feeling a sense of lack, and watch how things turn around. And maybe make a little altar space, even if it's just a little shelf or a little spot on your mantle, some way that you can call in that mother energy, even if it's just lighting a Virgin de Guadalupe candle. Do it in your own way, whatever speaks to you and what works for you. But I feel like if you can align with this mother energy, it's going to align you with the spirit of receptivity, and you might be surprised how things start to shift. We do have a really beneficial full moon coming in to close out this year on the 26th, the day after Christmas. So, keep your hopes high. You might be surprised what gets illuminated for you as you start to give yourself the permission to have a different kind of experience this holiday season. And I hope you will join us and get out there and play, even if just for a day, to try it on for size and see how it feels to get out in your community, be playful, be spirited, inspire a little hope, weave a little magic, and experience the true nature of this time of year and what it's really supposed to be about, because we're heading out of the darkness and we're preparing to enter into the light building phase. And after all the shadow stuff we've moved through, that's certainly something to celebrate. So I'll be back tomorrow with a special winter solstice video, and we'll bring in some more good stuff. Happy Yuletide, and go out there, make some magic happen.